When you think of an indoor farm, what comes to mind? For most of us, it's this super clean, futuristic image, right? Perfect food grown in a perfect controlled world, totally sealed off from everything outside. It really does feel like the ideal of modern farming.
I mean, just look at this. It's incredible. You've got these perfect rows of greens, all glowing under these funky lights. It looks more like a high-tech lab than a farm. And that's the image they sell, isn't it? That this environment is so sterile, the food has to be 100% safe. But is it really that simple?
Well, here's a dose of reality, and this isn't coming from a critic. This is coming straight from the industry's own playbook, the Controlled Environment Agriculture Alliance. And that one sentence, don't assume it's risk-free, that's the whole ballgame. It tells us there's a much more complicated story happening behind the scenes.
And the reason they say that is because even with all the tech, there have been recalls, there have been outbreaks. So if it's not the dirt or the rain causing problems, what is it? Where are these hidden risks actually coming from? Well, let's break it down. Turns out there are 4 main areas where things can get dicey.
First on the list, the water. Now, in these indoor farms, water is everything. It's not just hydrating the plants, it's their lifeline, delivering all the nutrients they need. But because it touches literally everything, it can also become a superhighway for contamination if it's not managed perfectly.
What we're talking about is something called a nutrient solution. To save resources, which is awesome, they often recycle this water, running it through the system again and again. But here's the catch. If a nasty bug like Salmonella or E. coli finds its way into that water, the recycling system can spread it to the entire farm, just like that.
Okay, what's next? The inputs. The farm might be a sealed box, but you still have to bring things into it. And everything that crosses that threshold, the seeds, the stuff they grow in, you name it, is like a potential Trojan horse, capable of sneaking hazards right past the gates. This means the whole process has to be squeaky clean from the very, very start. Contamination can be on the seeds before they even get planted. It can be hiding out in the growing material, the substrate, if it's not handled just right. Even some fertilizers can carry risks. Every single input has to be checked and double-checked. And of course, no matter how much you automate, you've still got people. And let's be honest, we humans can be a walking, talking bundle of germs. So worker hygiene isn't just a poster on the wall, it is a critical make-or-break line of defense. To deal with this, the protocols are intense. We're talking mandatory, rigorous training on food safety, super strict hand-washing rules, and an ironclad policy. If you're sick, you are nowhere near the produce. They even have things like special protective gear and dedicated footwear zones to stop germs from being tracked from one part of the facility to another. And last but not least, the 4th risk vector is the building itself. The design of the facility, the materials on the walls, the way the air flows, where the drains are, every single detail is actually a key player in the food safety game. And the level of detail here is just mind-boggling. All the surfaces have to be completely smooth and easy to clean. The whole place has to be designed so there are 0 spots where water can pool up and get stagnant. They even have to control condensation so that water from the ceiling can't drip down onto the crops. It's a never-ending fight to eliminate any possible hiding spot for pathogens.
Okay, so we've got the risks, the water, the inputs, the people, and the facility. That's a lot to worry about. So the big question is, how on earth does the industry actually manage all of this? Well, let's take a look at the rules of the room. You see, these farms often have to follow 2 different sets of complex FDA food safety rules. The produce safety rule applies to all the farmy stuff, growing and harvesting. But the second they start doing any processing, like chopping that lettuce for a salad mix, boom! They also have to follow the preventative controls rule, which is for food factories. Many of them have to juggle both. And at the end of the day, it all boils down to a certain mindset, a culture of being constantly on guard. You never assume you're safe. You are always looking for risks. You don't just test the lettuce at the end and hope for the best. You build safety into every single step. The absolute worst thing you can do is get complacent. So, what's the grand strategy for tying all of this together? Well, it's not about having one single silver bullet. Instead, it's about building layers upon layers of defense where each one backs up the others. You might have heard of it. It's kind of like Swiss cheese. The industry calls it a systems approach, and the Swiss cheese analogy is perfect. Think about it. One slice of Swiss cheese has holes in it, right? Those are weaknesses. But if you stack a bunch of slices together, the odds of all the holes lining up are tiny. You create a solid barrier. That's the idea here. If one safety layer fails, another one is right behind it to catch the problem. And what's really cool is that there's no single right way to stack the cheese. One farm might pour money into a super advanced water treatment system. Another might focus more on really intense worker training and top-of-the-line equipment design. As you can see, you can take different paths to get to the same destination, a really, really high level of safety. So now that we've pulled back the curtain on all these complex systems and invisible rules, how should that change the way we look at that perfect head of lettuce on the grocery store shelf? Well, that beautiful, clean head of lettuce is absolutely not an accident. It's the end result of an incredible amount of scientific planning and industry-wide teamwork from groups like the CEA Alliance. It's proof of a system that's been obsessively designed for safety from the ground up.
Look, the whole point of this wasn't to scare you or make you nervous about indoor-grown food. Not at all. It's actually the opposite. It's to give you a real appreciation for the massive, invisible effort that goes into making that perfectly clean image a reality. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you're at the store and you see that indoor-grown label, what are you going to think about? Will you just see a head of lettuce, or will you now see the incredible hidden dance of science, design, and discipline that it took to get it to your table?